I qualified as an acupuncturist in the summer of 2013, so at this moment I've been an acupuncturist for exactly a year. Before I started my course, I thought, goodness me, what are we going to spend 3 years doing? Now I'm finished and I'm in practice, I look back and I think, goodness me, how did we cram it all in? So there's a huge range of things that you study as part of your training on a proper, long, in-depth course to become an acupuncturist. And they are things that are absolutely crucial in everyday practice. So you do things like, obviously, business marketing skills. That's very much part of the course, very necessary. You do things like you look at reflective practice, which for me is an absolute necessity to being a practitioner. It provides a way of connecting with my patients, understanding where I've got something not quite so good and how I can do it better next time, and a way of, as well, protecting yourself against some of the difficult things that patients can bring. There are things like a full and proper understanding of Western medical diagnoses, which is absolutely necessary. If you're going to work creatively and flexibly with patients, you really need that. Before I became an acupuncturist, I was a journalist and an editor, and that was quite stressful work, quite difficult, quite high pressure. So I was anyway starting to think about a change of career. I knew I couldn't do it forever. And then in my late 30s, I started to have migraines, and they were quite indescribably horrible. They took my life away, really. So I was getting 10, 12 a month with all the side effects, you know, the nausea, the vomiting, the light sensitivity, sound sensitivity. Nothing worked. And in desperation, I went to have some acupuncture as a complete skeptic, but I was desperate. I didn't know how it worked, but that really just increased the fascination for me, and I wanted to know more. I don't have a background in healthcare, and so for me, it felt really important to choose a course that was accredited by the BAAB, and that was important to me because I felt that if I was going to take patients' health into my own hands, it's easy to be pious about it, but it's a serious responsibility. It's not to be undertaken lightly. My course was a master's course. I did 3 years, which qualified me as an acupuncturist, and now I'm doing a year's worth of dissertation. And the subject that I chose for my dissertation was to formulate a protocol in auricular acupuncture, which is needles in the ear, as something that could be used in situations where there were what's called populations in distress. That means populations suffering from the effects of conflict, disaster, possibly poverty as well. And that's been a really exciting project, not least because if it succeeds and if I can carry it forwards from here, it has the potential to do a huge amount of good stuff, not just in the countries for which it's originally intended, but possibly also in this country. You can imagine it being used perhaps in palliative care situations or perhaps in first aid situations in the right circumstances. So that for me has been a really exciting thing to be involved with, and again, a huge privilege to be helping to develop it as part of my master's dissertation. My advice to anyone who was thinking about a career in acupuncture now is do it, because there's never been a better time. Acupuncture is absolutely on the verge of a breakthrough. It's about to become much more integrated with Western medicine, potential there to make a real contribution. I would also say, don't underestimate what it takes to become an acupuncturist, because the course that I did was profound and life-changing. And I think if you do a proper professional training on a course that's accredited by BARB, and you engage with that course and the material that's in that course, and you do that with spirit and heart and understanding and commitment, then what you find is it will change your life.